start, if any of you have any documents that you'd like the commission to see, if you give them to Mr. Davis over here, and he can make sure that we get them. If any of you brought documents, it'll just save you from spending this time passing them out.
Hi, it's good to see you again. I'm Rena, Crabill, 422 Eastwood Drive, Newport News. I'd like to add to my comments from the last two meetings. Looking at the last two meetings of the public hearing for the Newport News Comprehensive Plan, it occurs to me that the only citizens who have spoken so far are people who are concerned about the fate of the City Farm property. And I must say, for those of us in particular who came to the very first hearing, it has been quite a time commitment, waiting that day for 3 hours just to speak. I would like to think that matters. We all have busy lives, and it is a measure of our concern about this issue that we keep coming before the public bodies to talk about this, despite other things we could be doing. To restate my request, I would like to see any reference to the City Farm property stricken from the comprehensive plan that does not specifically say public use, public access, public ownership. I've been rereading the book Newport News: A Centennial History that Corstein and Rohlfs put together for our 100th anniversary, and I would like to read a passage from it. Page 137, referencing the World War II years, there's a quote that says, "The city needed no recreational parks, for beaches and open fields lay all around it." I was struck by how different that is in our city today. There's also a picture of the Hotel Warwick, pages 52 to 53, prior to 1917, that shows 3 wide streets down to the beach at Casino Park there, in downtown Newport News, very close to this building where we are now. I'm trying to imagine growing up in a place with such access. We can't recreate that now with the cluttered landscape on this end of the city, but we do have an opportunity to have such access and protect it at Riverview Farm Park, specifically the City Farm property, which gives it a river view in the name of the park. I ask that you only recommend adopting this comprehensive plan if the wording about the City Farm Park of Riverview Farm Park is changed so that it is not understudy for anything other than public possession and access. Let's ensure that this beautiful spot is maintained for all the citizens to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I tell you, my first impression of this place was not great. I was used to pretty hills that gave you a view. This place was flat. Then slowly but surely, I began to discover what made this area special: the water. I could catch glimpses of it as I drove around, but only glimpses, mind you. Then I read in the daily press in the early 90s that there was a beautiful parcel of public land on the James called City Farm. The city council stated that when the prison there was emptied, the parcel would become part of the newly opened Riverview Farm Park. That's when the waiting game began, as I waited and waited and waited for the City Farm to be released to the people of Newport News. My children have been born, grown up, since as I've been waiting for this. If this city is zoned wisely, that is with the interest of the people in mind, it could be a place that was beloved, a place where young people would want to move. That this planning commission needs to strike all words that don't say public with reference to that land, as Rena said more eloquently than I did. And understudy strictly for the purpose of developing it as a public parkland. If the city chooses to take away the people's riverfront parkland, that is City Farm, and allow a developer to throw up a bunch of luxury homes, sealing off forever that last bit of undeveloped land on the James, that wonderful green space with views of our river, then we will be reduced to a dreary city of haves and have-nots, those who have an ample and sustaining view of our beloved James River, and those who have not. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tine 105 Cannon Drive, Newport News, Virginia. Thank you for having this public hearing so that the will of the people, the citizens of Newport News, may be heard by those who make the decisions about what the people would like. My chair during the time when this park was set up, and was involved in that in some ways. I hold a PhD from Virginia Institute of Marine Science in oceanography. I'm a professor of environmental science. The main purpose of me speaking today is once again to ask you to strike the understudy from all references to the city farm. The city farm is currently zoned park. It's been promised to the people of Newport News for almost half a century to be a park. We would ask you to strike those references and to change the map back to show green space, zone park in the document. I would like to read to you some from City Council Resolution 6743-91. On February 27, 1990, the Newport News City Council adopted the Deep Creek Menchville Plan. The plan calls for the development of a public park on land at the city farm, minimum security correctional facility, and for the relocation of that facility to a new site. On September 18, 1990, City Council appointed the Menchville Park Task Force to oversee the design and development of the park. Very long process involving lots of citizens to decide what to do with that land. The task force worked from October 90 through July 91, gathering extensive citizen input and developing the park design. The task force held 15 meetings, 2 major community workshops, and several site tours during the design process. The introduction to that resolution, I'm just going to read a little bit of it. The Riverview Farm Park, this is from the city documents regarding the adoption of the resolution. The Riverview Farm Park overlooks the James River at its confluence with the Warwick River, Deep Creek, and Newport News. Made up of nearly 300 acres, the majority of this land has continued in farm production for nearly 4 centuries. It now stands as the last major tract of undeveloped land overlooking the James River in Newport News. The site's half-mile of riverfront makes up the last section of natural shoreline on the Virginia Peninsula, passed by the waters of the James River as they flow toward Hampton Roads and the Chesapeake Bay. The site's tidal wetlands, creeks, and wooded areas create a quality natural environment. The panoramic views of the James, the passing of the oyster boats in and out of neighboring Deep Creek Harbor, and the quiet rural feel of the historic working farm makes this place of special character. The resolution. Whereas the City of Newport News adopted the Deep Creek Menchville Plan on February 29, 1990, and whereas Deep Creek Menchville Plan was made a part of the general plan for the City of Newport News, and whereas the Deep Creek Menchville Plan called for the development of a public park on the lands currently occupied by the city farm, whereas the development of such a park will necessitate the relocation of city farm, I will skip some of this. Whereas City Council in Newport News has reviewed the proposed plan as submitted, whereas the Council of the City of Newport News wishes to endorse the proposal of the Menchville Park Task Force. Therefore, be it resolved by City Council, 1, it hereby adopts the proposed design for the new public park to be created on the site of the city farm. It hereby reappoints the Menchville Park Task Force to oversee the development. It hereby requests the Newport News Planning Commission to prepare the park zone regulations, etc. And I have entered that into the records for the hearing. Many people contacted us and Citizens for Riverview Farm Park they wanted to be here, but they couldn't because it's 2 o'clock in a work day, and only with professionals and retired people can come and speak to you. I see I have the yellow light. I'm not going to have time to read all their comments, but I've entered them into the record. Let me read a few of them. Jean Barnshart Skarupa. We were promised the park over 20 years ago. Why can this city manager and council not keep this promise? We surely have our community friendship that we can rely on as we live here with where our country was founded and freedom won from the British as well. We need to be reminded of when a handshake and your word were good because you wanted honor on your name. Please keep honor on your name as you keep the promise of the previous council. Rebecca Childress Field. We have enough buildings in Newport News. We need more access to the water for all of the residents of Newport News. Once this prime location is gone, it is gone. Make City Farm a park for the citizens to enjoy. Melissa?
Dr. Van Tine?
Yes, a ma'am, okay. So there's another dozen or so that I entered into the record, and I think it is pertinent to mention that 2 o'clock for a hearing excludes most of the public. Thank you.
Dr. Van Tine, quick question.
Yes.
I'll wait until the applause stops. First of all, your efforts have been wonderful. My question is, you have 6,000 signatures
Yes.
on your petition.
Yes.
Has the petition changed from day
No.
one when you started? Haven't changed at all?
No.
Okay.
There is an online petition that's a little bit different. We're not counting those numbers. This is the petition. I think you have a copy of the petition. We can provide you a copy of the petition.
Yeah, I think your last page is a copy of that. And my next question is, the 6,000 people, are they Newport News residents? Do they live in California?
Most of those signatures were acquired during voting at precincts in Newport News, so we assume that most of them are Newport News residents.
So the super majority are from Newport News?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I live at 93 Miller Road up in Denby, and I've been there since 1970. When I moved to the city, there was farmland, woodlands all over. The air was fresh and clear. Now, on certain days, we have smog that you can drive to Richmond before you ever get out of it, I suppose. And what I'd like to say is this, that you have the power to save the one green jewel in the city, waterfront property. Several years ago, my niece came from Boston to help with my husband, and she wanted to go to the beach. And I thought, well, Buckro's too far. Huntington is very busy. Where can I go? So I went to Yorktown. I drove around and around trying to find a parking place. That's ridiculous. When we have our own waterfront right up here in Denby that was left to us by past city council members, and for this present one to decide that they can sell it or give it away is just simply wrong. And I don't understand how over 6,000 petitioners, and I went to some of the polling places, and they put their address on the petition, they're Newport News residents. And the only two people that told me no were working for developers. And I just don't get it. So please, 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 vote no and take that understudy off of our city park. It belongs to us, not the city council, not the mayor, not the developers. Please. I'm an old lady, and this is my big plea. I don't want to have to chain myself to a big oak tree down in the city park.
712 Farrar Drive. I have never made a speech in the public, and I am terrified. My message is, don't take away our park. It belongs to the people. No development of any